Welcome to another episode of the Breathe Life Daily Podcast, where we share insights on mental wellness. Thank you for tuning in. Please kindly press the like button, subscribe, and do follow. For today's episode, I'll be discussing on the topic I called attitude towards the past. I'll be discussing about how events in our past can positively or negatively influences us based on how we see it or how we go about the past. So let's begin. Sometimes we live in the present, but a larger part of us is still in the past. Sometimes we have gone through the past, but it still affects our present. And sometimes some scars of the past are still fresh in our present. Negative attitude about the past influences us, influences our emotional wellness, it influences our personality, it influences our self-esteem, it influences a great part of our lives, and the reason why we need to work on our emotions about the past. We need to look into how we think about events in the past. Thinking about ways the past can influence you. One, when you hold on to regret about things you could have done in the past, when you hold on to opportunities you have missed in the past, poor decisions you have made in the past. A large percentage of people live in the past of what they could have done better in the past, but life goes beyond regret. It goes beyond living in the past of things you haven't done. Another way the past can influence you is when you hold on to negative mindset about the past. Realize as individuals is that at one point in our lifetime, we have all had a reason to regret about our decisions or a close experience that could have caused us a regret. There was a time I almost had a regret at school because, it was not really my fault, but I would have regretted about it too. So around that period, it was exam period at school, and we were in my hostel. I stay off campus, and we were all reading, I and my friends. Suddenly we just started hearing noise from outside, and we went outside to look, and then we saw a house not very far from our house was on fire, and people were like, hey, what are we going to do? At first we were like, okay, let us switch off the lights, the switch of the house. They said, there's no switch in this house. Then we said, okay, how are we going to get water? There is no water, because then it's during the dry season, and where I stay, it's mostly well water, and so there is no water. And third, people were like, how are we going to even enter the house? The woman sells alcohol and there are bottles all around, and there's going to be bottle on the floor. And people were like, we can't switch off this light, this house is going to burn. And then one woman, we don't even know who spoke. Someone just said, let's help this woman. Let's try. Let's give it our best. And people just started, okay, let's try. Then, and we don't even know. Ideas were just coming from here and there. Somebody said, we can climb the fence of the next house and stay on it, and people will find water. I just don't know how it happened. Water came out. People stood on the fence. They were pouring water to the house, and luckily the light went off. After then, when we all got home, I and my friends were like, wow, if they said this light can go off, it's really a wonder for us. But we now looked again that if we had not made efforts that day, the next day when we see the house burnt, we will all have that regret in our hearts that we could have tried. And that's how people's lives are in reality. We sometimes live in regret that I could have done this, I could have made this decision, I could have living in the what you could have done could cause regret. And this regret, if not managed effectively, can be dangerous. So hence the reasons why we need to positively manage our regret about events in our lifetime. And this brings me to the second point, which is having negative mindset about the past, having negative mindset about events in the past. One thing is that the way we perceive a situation influences how we see it and how it influences us. Situations that are not favorable to us, we either see the positive in it positive in it, or are you stuck in that situation? And one thing about our emotions is that once you perceive something as, oh, this is how it should be, this is how it should not be, then somehow it influences how you see that situation. And how you perceive past situations can come to affect how you perceive your present situation. For example, a person that was sacked at work and the person was loyal and works well, the person might perceive that, oh, in my past place of work I was good, but I was still sacked. If that such a person carries that type of mindset to their next place of work, there is the possibility that the person is just going to work in a lackadaisical attitude, because he still perceived that I did my best in the last place, but I was sacked. Instead of having that type of mindset, why not say that, oh, it is high time for me to leave there, that was why I was sacked? Or rather see another positive way to it. And when you see that positive way to it, in your present place of work, you can do your best. The reason why some people won't try new goals is because of the fear of the failure of the past. And a larger percentage of people live in the regret of the past, even while being unaware of this. They are not aware of this. And how is this possible? One way is by holding on to resentment about the past, holding on to unresolved anger, disappointment, hurt about the past, and this can emotionally be draining and harmful to one's mental wellness. Another way is by engaging in the blame game, engaging in that, oh, I don't have any faults in it, it's this person that has the major faults. By passing blames rather keeps us being hurtful. Also, by only seeing the negative aspect of the past makes men to perpetually carry the scars of the past all around them, even in their present. So how then can we achieve a positive attitude towards our past and make peace with our past? The first one is recognition. You have to recognize that there is a problem and this is affecting my present, and by doing this you have to acknowledge the pain. Instead of denying or suppressing it, that you are not being hurt by it, you have to rather acknowledge it. For example, for a lady that is being hurt by a boyfriend or lover, instead of saying, oh, I'm not hurt by the situation, I'm a strong lady, rather acknowledge that, yes, what this guy did to me was wrong and it makes me hurtful, it hurts my emotion. Acknowledge it first. Then the next thing you should do is to identify why this is hurtful to you. Why are you pained by that situation? You have to identify it. Then you recognize its impact of the hurt to you. How has this hurt? How has this event influenced you? How has it affected you? You have to identify that too. Then you have to change your perception about it so that you can get healing over it. Instead of being stuck in it, rather change your perception about it. Oh, it's just one thing about life, or you rather say, oh, we grow day by day, we learn day by day. Just change your perception about it and come to peace about it. We all have one point where we were not perfect and didn't do well, but we don't get stuck in it, and that's the goal. Where you can come to peace with your negative past is to see the positive in it. Instead of seeing the negative in that situation, just see the positive in it. For example, if you have regret about your past actions, missed opportunities, instead of saying, oh, it's just about me missing this opportunity, why not rather sit that, oh, this missed opportunities opens my eyes to other things I can see. It made me more prepared for the future. For example, for myself, there was a time I missed an interview because I got there late, and it was not really my fault because I thought they are going to start late, and because of that I missed the opportunity. And instead of regretting over it, I just felt, oh, the next time I'll get there early. So anytime I have any interview, 2 hours before the time, I'm there already. So instead of just regretting and crying over spilled milk, why not change how you see the situation rather see it that it's an avenue for me to learn. It's an avenue for me to move forward. Then the next point is to identify your faults in it and make an amendment. When you identify your faults in it, then you can make, in subsequent times I'm not going to make such a mistakes. Instead of dwelling on just the mistakes alone, rather see what are your errors in it and learn from them to make amendments. Another thing you can do is also to change your perception about life. Sometimes life is not a win-win. Sometimes we have to lose to win in subsequent times. So when you lose sometimes, don't see it as the end of it. Rather see it that it's rather an opportunity to have a bigger win. Regret about the past, it's a negative thing if we are not making actions towards making it better. It takes away one's hope of the future. So rather, instead of regretting about the past, make actions to make it better. And always remember that we learn day by day, and mistakes is an essential part of one's life. We have to make mistakes sometimes before we can grow. In all, ensure you live in the present and make peace with your past. I've come to the end of this section. Thank you for listening. Please press the like button, subscribe, and leave your comments in the comment section. And in all that you do, ensure you breathe life daily. Bye.